the SanDiego Zoo, and I have one of the best jobs of the world because I get to work around these creatures every single day. Look at this toucan. I mean, the amazing coloration in the beak. This is an assembly of monarch butterflies on a eucalyptus tree. Or what about this incredible plant from the passion fruit flower? It's incredibly delicate and intricate, yet it's incredibly strong. So I'm inspired by these things every day, and they bring me a great source of joy. And because of this love of nature that I've come to develop, I've found that nature holds these incredible secrets for us. Nature can actually help us to solve the solutions to the environmental problems that we have created for ourselves. Nature can help us bridge the gap between environmental and economic sustainability. And what I'm referring to is something called biomimicry or bioinspiration. That is, looking to nature for inspiration, for innovation. It's a discipline where we look at the systems, the processes, the functions in nature, and we attempt to come up with solutions that are sustainable and repeatable. It's also an interdisciplinary approach, something that we have lost. It's an interdisciplinary approach where experts come from different domains. Chemists talk to biologists, who talk to architects, who talk to engineers, to solve problems, work together to solve human challenges. Now, nature has been evolving for billions of years. And in that process, it has developed an incredible library, incredible living laboratory filled with innovation and of functionality and design. What I would like to do is to ask us to tap into that living laboratory, to develop products, processes that eliminate waste and reduce the consumption of natural resources. Now, that sounds pretty hard to do. It's not like I'm going to look at a leaf and I'm going to be inspired to design a photovoltaic cell. But the fact is that we need to use our powers of observation in greater ways than we've done before. We need to observe, and in the observation of these creatures, we do gain inspiration. That inspiration leads us to be able to draw analogies, which then can help us solve problems. So for example, you take this incredible peacock. The vibrant greens and blues are not the result of any pigment. It's structural color that is caused by the reflection of ambient light. This functionality has been the inspiration for Mirasol, a division of Qualcomm. And they have been able to develop a display, an e-reader, which is vivid in bright sunlight, but it uses significantly less battery power than another type of display. And the significance of this is that, obviously, we don't need as many batteries, so we're producing less batteries. That means less consumption of natural resources, but also less batteries wind up in our landfill. Or let's take a look at the Termite Mound. This incredible thing is comprised of ducts and channels that are able to maintain a relatively constant temperature during the day, just a few degrees variation, even when the temperature outside is varying by about 50 degrees. It has been the inspiration for the development of this Eastgate complex in Zimbabwe. This complex has no heating and cooling system in it, and it uses 1/10 the energy of a similar-sized building. Or this cool little kingfisher. Its aerodynamic beak has become the inspiration for the redesign of the Japanese bullet train, which was having problems with sound. It also helped increase speed and efficiency in the train. Now, we are coming in a time of incredible convergence. Technological advancements are remarkable. Nanotechnologies, material science, all kinds of sciences are at amazing levels. At the same time, man is recognizing the incredibly poor job we have done in being stewards of this earth. Add on to that the global economic downturn that we're seeing, And we've got the opportunity for transformational change. Now, nature holds incredibly efficient processes. So if we were to look to nature for these answers in solving our problems, the convergence that I was talking about, when we look at modern man, he has, through his time in the industrialized world, he has actually become disconnected from nature. We have accomplished remarkable things, but in the process of doing that, we've disconnected from our very natures. In fact, we are making discoveries that are separating ourselves from the nature upon we actually depend. Through biomimetic principles, what we were trying to do is to go back to nature, to look for these efficiencies of designs, to develop products and processes that stop the waste, to stop the consumption of natural resources. So, what I'm suggesting is that mankind reconnect with his very nature, that we try to be a generation that brings children back to a point where they can actually connect with nature. For our own emotional, for our own physical, for our own total well-being, we need to be able to do this. So if we, as I say, connect, reconnect, and raise a generation of children, well, we might be able to make some transformational changes in terms of how we design and what we process. SanDiego Zoo, we're working very hard at doing this. We are a conservation organization, and we work around the world in the business of saving species. And we do a really good job at saving species. But of what ultimate value can we be if the species that we're saving have nowhere to go? That's why we look to nature. Nature is supremely efficient. It is what is referred to frequently as a closed-loop system. There is no waste in nature. The waste of one system becomes the fuel of another. The leaves on the floor of the forest become the food and the homes for hundreds of other species. You don't see ugly power plants in nature, but you see incredible sources of power in nature. You feel the wind. You feel the warmth of the sun. You see the beautiful plants. You touch the water. This is what is inspiring us. This is what is giving us the clues to how we should be designing in a way that we can actually reduce the use of resources, restore habitat, and enhance biodiversity. Now, I think all that is really cool, and I think that is really wonderful. But I didn't tell you my job at the SanDiego Zoo is the chief financial officer. So, lots of times people say, Paula, you've lost your mind. I mean, go back and do your books. But see, I believe and I understand that business is always looking for efficiency. Nature is supremely efficient. So if we were to look to nature, to how we design, what we produce, we would probably figure out more efficient processes. And what does that mean? We would wind up using less goods in the production, less time in the production, and probably get a better product. So all that less goods and less time, of course, translates to profit, which is then tied back to the CFO role. So what we did, our team, we commissioned an economic impact study. We asked Point Lazarine, they have a new economic institute here in town, to perform this study to see if there's any value to biomimetic design in terms of the economy. And it was a long study, took close to a year. It was completed just at the end of last year. And as you can see from the title of it, I was happy. It said, Global Biomimicry Efforts, an Economic Game Changer. And the study says, in 15 years, this is just US alone, there could be $300 billion annual increase in gross domestic product. There could be $50 billion in terms of mitigating the depletion of natural resources. And there could be the creation of 1.6 million jobs. Well, that's pretty profound. That's pretty significant. It says, by increasing efficiency and reducing costs, solutions inspired by nature can allow us to both raise the standards of living and preserve the environment. For me, that was a really important statement because the the debate always is, it's either or. It's either the environment or it's jobs. You can't have both. What this is saying, it can be a win-win. We can do both. And here's some companies that are doing it. Here you see the Intertidal Muscle. This little creature has the most amazing ability to form this incredibly strong and waterproof adhesive. Enter a company called PureBond, who has taken this technology and developed a formaldehyde-free wood glue that is taking over the whole wood industry. Formaldehyde-free means carcinogen-free, which is a good thing. Or you look to the Lotus Leaf. It has a hydrophobic characteristic where water lands on it, it forms little droplets, it runs off, and it takes the grime with it. Enter Lotus Sand, a paint. This is a paint that many industrial companies are using, and so instead of cleaning it with chemical cleansers, it gets cleaned with natural precipitation. So, how do we make this happen? How do we get to a point where we can even start to make this happen on a grand scale? Well, we need to change our way of thinking, for one thing. I love this story. This is the humpback whale, and it has little rough edges on its fin. Those edges have inspired the redesign of the conventional windmill. And what it does is it helps reduce drag so that energy can be created during times of lower wind speed. What I find really fascinating about this one is, remember earlier I said that biomimicry crosses disciplines and we have different engineers talking to biologists? Well, this is just a very vivid example of where a creature from the sea is inspiring how to create more efficient wind energy. In addition to the change in thinking, we really need a change in attitude. We have, since the first industrial revolution, over 200 years, accomplished remarkable things. And the quality of life for mankind has improved generation after generation. But there's been a cost associated with it. The cost, of course, is the destruction of so much of our habitat, the eradication of forests, the pollution of streams and rivers, the extinction of species who, when they go, they take their marvelous little secrets with them. World Bank estimates that in the US alone, on an annual basis, the cost of the depletion of natural resources is about $350 billion a year. Since the first industrial revolution, our attitudes have been disposed so that we seem to think that we can dominate nature. We seem to think that the resources we have are expendable, endless, without limit. But we know they have limits, and recent events show us that nature can strike back with power and fury. What we need to have is a change in attitude and a change in heart. A humble, appreciative spirit about the things that we've been given, about the role that we are to play in protecting the things that we have been given. I believe that through biomimetic principles, we can actually, if we were to change the way we think, if we were to change our attitude and to change our heart, we would actually have the vehicle to create new and sustainable products that would enable us to reduce the consumption of natural resources, restore our habitat, which would enhance biodiversity. Now, as I said, at the SanDiego Zoo, we are the stewards of one of the world's collections of plants and animals, but we also have 100 years worth of animal and plant husbandry and science. And we are poised to offer it to the world, offer it to all of you, to work together with us, to try to create these solutions. We have 5 million people a year come through our door. We educate hundreds of thousands of kids a year. Millions visit our website. We are working with the universities in this region. We are working with the city and others to try to create a hub where biomimetic excellence can occur, where we can really start commercialization, because in order to make it happen, we've got to have the commercialization. So again, we offer you all that we have. It's at your service. We ask you to join us to make this really happen in San Diego, where we can take it around the world for the benefit of ourselves and for the benefit of future generations. Thank you very much.